Charles Soule and Ramon Rosanas bring the rest of the rebellion into the War of the Bounty Hunters as Princess Leia puts together a plan to go and get Han Solo back from Crimson Dawn. But Lando's other deals with them and Bib Fortuna may put the mission in dire jeopardy. Charles Soule, the main architect behind War of the Bounty Hunters, continues the fun first act build up here as a wayward and lost Leia comes up with a desperate plan to get Han back. I did enjoy that while outwardly not said, you can tell that Soule meant to make it look as if Leia isn't herself now thanks to Han not being there, and she feels like there's a part of her heart now missing, but she won't really ever admit that. And there's a great little connective tissue to the OT movies where they had that kind of back and forth where neither would admit that they actually liked one another until like the end of Empire Strikes Back and into Return of the Jedi. This piece of story also connects up with more of the ongoing plots for Soule's book, as well as a few from other books like Bounty Hunters and whatnot. And thanks to Crimson Dawn returning, we get more great connective tissue to Solo, thanks to Lando and Chewie having previous run-ins with Crimson Dawn, mentions of Dryden Voss, and a great sort of hint at Darth Maul there as well. Lando getting so much playtime throughout this series and these last couple of issues as well is really quite fantastic as well, and thanks to Soule's clear love for the character, we get a great compelling story where he's going to do anything to help his best friend Lobot, but in the classic Lando always has deals going on and fingers in many different pies type of way. Ramon Rosanas continues his great looking artwork, this time getting to explore some of the rebel ships we've seen throughout the series in the big rebel fleets, and the cool little bar they have themselves set up in the hangar, which is quite interesting, as well as more cool looking crime syndicate ships which we've gotten since the beginning of the War of the Bounty Hunters. The biggest one of course being Black Sun's big entrance into the series, and their fighters and all of which are unique and interesting looking, and I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of that throughout this series. Star Wars issue 14 continued the War of the Bounty Hunters setup, getting more of our main players in position while also doing some great character drama with Princess Leia and her feelings for Han Solo. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Star Wars issue 14 sees Princess Leia dreaming of Han Solo being freed from the Carbonite on Bespin, brought out of her dream when she tells the team that they are going to get Han. Luke is all for that, but now that since Chewie and him went all the way to Nar Shaddaa looking for Boba Fett, they came back empty-handed and he's still got Han. So they could be anywhere, and while Leia got a message with a tip, what if it's just another false lead? Leia says that Luke is off on two things there, knowing that the lead isn't false and Fett doesn't have Han anymore. She shows the group a message from Amilyn Holdo, who has been working undercover for Leia within the crime syndicates to secure supply lines for the rebellion, and she recently got word that Han is still frozen in Carbonite and someone is trying to sell him. Leia tells the group that Fett sold Han onto someone else and that there will be an auction for him soon. Luke wonders who he was sold to, learning that it was Crimson Dawn. Chewie isn't happy about this and 3PO translates his anger, saying that Chewbacca has had run-ins with Crimson Dawn before and they are known for their savagery and deception, and while they haven't been active in years, Chewie's dealings did not go well with them, and if they have returned and possess Han, it could be a very delicate and dangerous situation. Chewie knows that someone else might be useful when dealing with Crimson Dawn, and Leia guesses he means Lando. She sends Chewie to go and sweet talk Lando, since after what happened to Lobot and the Talkie, he might not want to help, however this is for Han after all. 3PO heads off with Chewie to go and deal with tasks related to Starlight Squadron finding the rest of the rebel fleet, as Luke wonders if they should do this. Leia knows that it's for Han, so of course, but Luke didn't mean that, since he knows the rebellion needs her, and Crimson Dawn sounds very dangerous, and lately she hasn't really been herself. Luke knows that she acts the same and inspires them all to keep fighting, but her words used to come from the heart, now they come from her head. She says that that's why she needs to do this, because ever since Commander Zara infiltrated the fleet and held a knife to her throat, something has been missing and she feels hopeless, and for the sake of the rebellion, she has been going through the motions, but this has got to stop, and Holdo's message about Han is the first time that has made her feel like herself in a long time, so she knows that they will get Han back and everything will be alright. In Club Afterburn on the Redemption's hangar deck, Chewie meets with Lando and Lobot, who thanks to Crimson Dawn being mentioned, begins thinking of the Kessel Run and L3 again. Lando is more than happy to help, but Chewie is skeptical that he actually wants to help them. Lando says that he has some responsibility with Han being frozen in carbonite, and he will do what he can since he used to know Crimson Dawn pretty well back in the day, but Lobot isn't doing anything for the rebellion anymore after how they treated him. Chewie thanks him for his help as later, once the Wookiee leaves, Lando tells Lobot that if Crimson Dawn is really back, Luke and Leia don't stand a chance, and if they can, he will help Han. But that's not why they are going along with this, since if Crimson Dawn is throwing a party for the galaxy's criminal element, then there is one person he knows who will be there, Jabba. Lando contacts Bib Fortuna, saying that like always, he's right on time, knowing that Jabba is going to be at the Crimson Dawn party, and he will deliver him the package there, leaving the talkie in orbit for him to pick up. Bib is happy with that, telling Lobot that they have a droid to steal. Later on, Luke leaves in his X-Wing alongside the Millennium Falcon, saying he promised Wedge that he would run a patrol with Starlight Squad before they rendezvous on Jakara, so he'll see them as soon as he's done. Luke tells them that the Force is with them as the Falcon heads off into hyperspace. Leia begins detailing the plan, knowing this to be an auction with powerful factions from all over the galaxy coming to bid on Han, something Lando finds rather flattering. Leia doesn't think that Han would see it that way, saying that she will pose as a wealthy royal from an obscure planet and that she will bid and win Han back. Lando knows that while the princess can play the part of a royal, she will be up against the entire crime syndicates like the Hutts, and they'll be hard to outbid, and with Crimson Dawn involved, there is always something they aren't seeing. Lando remembers that Crimson Dawn was run by a very bad man named Dryden Voss, and he was the worst of the worst, and he always figured that there was someone even worse than him above him, and the syndicate lied, cheated, and killed, and you never knew where you stood with them, so a less overt approach might be better. Chewie quickly agrees, but Leia says that they will adjust the plan accordingly, and Lando is there to help navigate through this situation. Lando knows that she isn't listening to him, since Crimson Dawn aren't people, but he knows that they are committed now as they pull out of hyperspace, but he knows Leia might change her tune when she sees what's waiting for them. The Falcon pulls out a light speed in front of Jakara, spotting other syndicate ships already in the area. Lando knows that credits and a fancy dress won't get Han out of this one, as he says that he and Lobot will go and check the gun ports since they might need them. Lando, however, goes and activates the talkie he stole from the rebel fleet, turning it on so Jabba's people can zero in on its signature since he already sent Bib their coordinates. Lando wants to talk to the droid first, however, wanting to learn what is happening to Lobot since his friend is in pain. Lando talks with the droid who remembers them and the awful golden droid who stole the Trawek language from his memory banks. They lock the droid in the airlock, telling it that its troubles are only just beginning and he will be picked up by Jabba the Hutt soon, since he wants the language as well, but he won't ask nicely, and he's got a droid torture chamber ready for him. The talkie asks what he ever did to them, as Lando says nothing, but it's what he did to Lobot. The droid is shot into space as he says that the Hybroid has an issue with his neural connectors and he can fix it. Lobot suddenly begins talking again, exciting Lando that his friend is back, but Lobot says that the droid is somehow doing this and it did it earlier during their code-breaking mission, pushing his implants back just for a second, and when it stopped, he went back to the other place. Lando realizes his mistake at spacing the droid, thinking that they can convince Chewie to double back and grab it. Lobot implores him to hurry since he can feel the implants pushing back and the talkie must not have a good range on the communicator. Lando knows that they will make this work and it's so good to have his friend back, but the ship exits the droid's range, putting Lobot back in his vegetative state. Leia tells Lando that Chewie has an idea and requires them to pull off some insane maneuvers, wanting them to strap in. Lando tries to tell her they can't leave, but it's too late as the ship races away from the talkie. Lando tells his friend that he won't give up on him and he will fix Lobot. Lando returns to the cockpit, acting like all the guns are fine as he learns that Chewie is going to bring them onto the far side of the planet away from the capital ship's sensors, and from there, they will go down to the surface of the planet and skim across until they get close enough to the Crimson Dawn ship down there. Lando wonders if she has thought about doing this in a ship that wasn't recognizable to half the galaxy's criminals, since that would have been easier. Leia says that she wanted to awaken Han in a familiar environment, and the Falcon is as close to a home as he's got. While the duo argue, a ship suddenly appears out of hyperspace in front of them, causing Chewie to go into evasive maneuvers, but he still scrapes along the side of it. The ship, belonging to Black Sun, sends out fighters to deal with the Falcon. The ship is hit by the fighters as Chewie takes her into a hard dive onto the planet. Chewie tells everyone to hold on since he's got a plan that will get worse before it gets better. The Falcon speeds towards the ground, pulling up just in time as the Black Sun ships slam into the icy ground below. Lando demands to know what Chewie is doing to his beautiful ship as the Falcon hits a glacier, causing it to hit the ground and slide along the ice before coming to a stop at a mountain. The heroes exit the top of the ship, with Leia knowing that it's a good a plan as any since it's right where they want to go, spotting the Crimson Dawn ship nearby. Leia knows that now they'll just need to get through all of the criminals, thieves and killers aboard to save Han Solo, but they will succeed since they are Han's only hope.